Hello and welcome back to Game 2 of Serenity versus Omega Gaming Alpha. My name is Diatrapa and I'm joined on the desk by Rudude. Rudude, how are you feeling about last game?
Hey, we had an absolute blast with game number one, and I can't wait for game number two to get underway. Already we see some similar style bans, nothing from game one getting banned away, but Diachpa, we've got a sub for game number two. We've got a little substitution in the mid lane for Serenity. How are you feeling about this?
I'm a little bit confused. I'll be honest, Rudude. I'm looking at it, and Polaroids is the mid player, so it's a substitution in the mid lane, and he's been subbed out for a player named Barack Obama, who initially was listed in their roster as a jungler. Doesn't play a lot of jungle champions, and seems to be a flexible player, but doesn't main mid. And is kind of all over the map, and is also lower ranked than Polaroids. So I'm wondering, I guess it's not inherent disapproval, but very much a question mark in my mind as to what on earth inspired them to make this substitution when I feel like Polaroids performed perfectly well in game one.
This we're looking to be impressed, is what we're saying. We're not by any means disapproving of this change. We're a bit confused, and we're ready to be shown why. I think is the best description
Exactly.
of this change. And just so that we're all crystal clear, we've got blue side is going to be Omega Gaming Alpha this game. Red side is Serenity. Obviously, the team names have been just blue redded, which is unfortunate, but we disclose it to you guys right now, so you're all aware. Blue is Omega Gaming Alpha. Red side is going to be Serenity.
Yeah, it does help us give context to especially the Ash ban that's going to be coming in from blue side. Not wanting to face down autofill ADC on that pick again, as he was able to really pilot that well once he did get an advantage and position really well with the Ash to make team fights happen for Serenity.
Yeah, it really did. Autofill ADC was the lead damage dealer for Serenity that game. Did as much work as he could. Unfortunately, as I sort of alluded to a little bit, was that they didn't really have any damage outside of that with the Twisted Fate, so they were really banking entirely on the Ashe. And as soon as the Ashe had fallen, unfortunately, they were unable to take any team fight or take the team fight that was ultimately game deciding. And right now, we see Serenity. They actually take away the Shen pick, which is something that's quite interesting, denying that away from the top laner here. Candyman Prim not going to be able to pilot it in game number two. We do see Sion coming through as the counter in the top side. So if you enjoyed the wet noodle matchup in game number one, well, good news for you guys. We got another one. Ornn gets banned away. We take the Sion. We take another beefy boy up into the top side. And the Cassiopeia also getting denied.
Yeah, I like this Cassiopeia pick, especially because it's a really nice denial from what we saw Princeton just absolutely destroying on in game one. I felt like he piloted that really confidently, and it does force him to pull out something else. Something else that I want to address, however, is that because he's on the blue side, they're not going to be able to give him exactly the same level of priority, since there's always the possibility that he is counterpicked on red. And by picking the Cassiopeia right now, I feel like they forfeit that a little bit.
Yes, this opens up Princeton to be able to take something really nice in the mid lane, really able to snowball this. And currently, the way this draft has played out, it looks as though, or it doesn't look as though Alpha have had their pick of counter picks. They're going to be able to counter pick this Cassio. They're able to, or I'll say counter pick. They're able to take the favorable matchups that they want, right? So they're being
Hmm.
able to. Oh, never mind. Whoa, hey. Okay, a flex pick. Let's go. Actual good usage of flex. Well played. They've picked the Renekton. This likely means Shen is going to go support, which isn't what I expected, and I don't think that it's what Alpha will have expected. Maybe they've done more research than me, and maybe they expected Shen to go to support. But with the Shen pick up and the Renekton there as well, that flexes it a little bit, and I'm happy with that. That they
And
actually take the Scion in, or the Renekton into Scion.
And just before we see it, I also want to point out there's a possibility that the Cassiopeia is a bait for a counter pick in mid lane, and she can go AD. They haven't locked in an AD carry yet.
You are very correct. That Cassio can also go bot lane. The Cassio Shen bot lane, not something I've really seen. Um, Looks like Princeton's just going to pick up the Corki here anyway, and be interested to see whether or not your prediction is right here because I actually really like it as an idea to come out because if you just get the taunt down and then the grounded underneath, there's no way for the Ezreal to arcane shift off of that, and that would be a lot of damage coming through. Definitely a unique counter pick to Karma Ezreal in the bot lane. I'll have to wait and see though. 10 seconds ticking down. It's going to be the Lucian here, so I still don't think that anything is decided for the AD carry and
That
the
doesn't
mid lane role here.
help at all.
Yeah, yeah, exactly right. You know, Lucian can go mid lane, Cassio can go bot lane. It's just going to be whichever champion or whichever player feels more comfortable on these champions. So it's all up in the air. We'll have to wait to get into the client to see what is going to be played by which particular players. It's fairly certain where Alpha are going, right? We can see Sai on top, Trundle jungle, Corki in the mid lane, and then likely going to be Ezreal Karma down on the bot side of the map. And then Shen support, Renekton top, Nunu rather, going to be the jungler, and then we have the flex potential between Cassio and Lucian. So it's going to be up to these guys to decide where they go. We are just about to load ourselves up on into the in-client draft. So we'll bring that up for you guys just as soon as we get it started. But yeah, this is going to be a great game. What are your thoughts going into this draft, Diatripa?
My thoughts are definitely looking at rapid fire on the Ezreal. He was denied that in game one by a ban, so we'll have to see if Serenity giving up that ban and letting him take the champion is going to pay off. And I really like the Corki pickup for Princeton as well. Does play not exactly the same, but similar to Cassiopeia in the way that he backlines is less of a caster, more of an auto attacker that has casts to him. Um, and so I think that this is going to be really nice for him. He's going to be able to output that consistent damage. But I'm still formulating my thoughts on exactly what these teams do really well because neither of them stand out to me as what I want to say particularly amazing team fighters. Especially with things like Lucian Renekton that I personally feel like hold down a team fight and put your composition on a timer. But at the same time, yeah, like I'm not sure exactly what the win conditions that I'm seeing here are.
So I'll throw in a little bit of 2 cents. And
Please.
I think what we've got for what I also remember, and I might be slightly mistaken. Do you remember 2 weeks ago when we interviewed? I believe it was Rapid Fire. I think we've had Rapid Fire on on the desk for an interview, and I'm pretty sure that his exact words were, "If you leave Ezreal up, I will play it every single game." And I think that was Rapid Fire. Uh, you correct me if I'm wrong. But
It was Turtle from Excellence in Heavyweight.
oh, okay, never mind, never mind.
But
Well,
but yes,
anyway,
I do think it's a good motto for any AD carry right now.
yeah, I mean Ezreal, especially with Ashband, um, Ezreal is the top tier ADC. You know, we're playing on 10-15 where Aphelios has been nerfed. That's by the by. Ezreal, super great pickup here. Thoughts on the comps, which is what you'd asked me about.
Hmm.
What I see here is the potential for a nice 1-3-1 composition to come out for Serenity. You know, sort of playing to the style that Omega Gaming Alpha had last game, except they're not going to be using the Shen to do that. They're going to be using Lucian and they're going to be likely using Renekton as well. They could use Cassio in place of the Lucian. You know, those two champions fill the same sort of role. With Renekton, he's likely going to be building the Black Cleaver, building the Blade of the Ruin King, just so that he can cut through the tankiness that is going to be built up by the Scion and the Trundle. And if he goes for that build, that's when he wants to be in the in the side lane, not getting cut down by these two really strong mid game spiking champions with the Corki, with the Ezreal. So look to Serenity to try and play side lanes really effectively. And I think that the team fight from Omega Gaming Alpha is really where they're going to thrive because, you know, Corki in a side lane late game can do really well and probably can handle a Cassiopeia if he's able to dodge the Noxious Blasts well enough. But really, Corki thrives in team fights, so does Ezreal, you know. Trundle, Scion, two big team fighters. They want to steal the stats away. They want to knock up the tanks so that their backline can do the damage. It looks a lot more like a team fighting comp for Alpha than it does for Serenity. But we'll have to see how the game plays out because obviously you can team fight with Lucian, Cassio, and Renekton. It's just going to be a bit harder to execute.
Yeah, and I think Cassio will be able to substitute with a lot of the damage that kind of falls off of Lucian. We did just see the swap before 20 seconds, so as we come up on it, it looks like it will be the Cassiopeia being flexed into the bottom lane. Huge fan of that, and I really like the idea there to be able to pick the Cassiopeia and use her as a flex to bait out a counter pick.
Yeah, exactly. They did it with the Shen pick, I believe, and they've done it also with this Cassiopeia going into the bot lane. Something that we should be proud. We didn't get baited by, and it was mainly you that didn't get baited by it because I would have quite happily committed to Cassio mid lane until they locked in the Lucian. But yeah, not getting baited by flex picks is something that we should be all thriving to do. Happy though that they flexed it out. You know, the double flex pick here on the red side is sort of the advantage that you get from red side. And I spoke to a couple of people that say red side is more you use flex picks on it, and blue side is more to gain power picks essentially. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, 2 minutes 30 before the spectator delay. What any final opinions going in? Anything you want to touch on before we load up for the sync up?
I do think that you're exactly right when you say that the flex picks are really powerful on red side, and on the blue side you do get to use a lot of that power. And so for me, especially moving into this game where we do have a substitute and we'll have to see how the team dynamics change around that, I want to see if they can justify these flex picks, because as much as I'm excited about their power in the kind of trading card game that is draft, I think that seeing how you can actually use those cards, or in this case, champions in game, is going to be what really determines whether they walk away with the potential victory and taking us to the game three here.
Yeah, exactly. The burden of execution is going to be on Serenity to make things happen early on in this game and snowball their Inect and snowball their Lucian so that these two champions don't fall down by the wayside. Because when we compare them to a Corki and to a Scion in a late game team fight scenario, it's really not comparable. The engage the engage from Omega Gaming, and it's very rare that you say this, is just run at them. Short of having a Kled, short of having a Udyr, for example, the Scion ulti, the Pain Train going to come down. They're going to have Karma Mantra Shields, Pillar coming up to help and engage as well. It's going to be quite straightforward to find and engage onto the Serenity roster. So we'll have to see if they're able to execute on that. And as I mentioned, Serenity looking to get early game advantages, snowball the side lanes that they're going to be having, and play a nice 1-3-1.
Yeah, their side lane can be incredibly powerful, especially with Lucian being able to trade really effectively onto anybody who wants to take a short trade with him. Maybe not feeling as confident into the Scion, but Renekton, that is his game all the way. If he does choose to go the build that you were talking about with the Blade of the Rune King Black Cleaver, can just make Scion look a little bit silly in the side lane.
Yeah, this is again, what we need to focus on is the narrative of this story is going to be: do Serenity get ahead early? If they do, then great. If they don't, I really fear for their comp, because late game, their carries from Alpha just outrange as well the side of
Mm-hmm.
Serenity. Like, just look at Ezreal and Corki; they're able to fire so much poke before Lucian and Cassie are able to get in range.
Yeah, that is going to be really scary for them. We are going to have to see how that plays out, and if Serenity can take the start of the game in their hands here. We will be finding out whether they can do that as we load into Game 2 of the 7th week of the Focus Propel series, to find out which of these teams will progress and take their game records to 6-1 here. And we will see you right after a short break. Hello and welcome back to Game 2 of the Serenity versus Omega Gaming Alpha series. Here we have Serenity on the top side, red side, and Omega Gaming Alpha will be taking the bot side here. As after an
Ooh.
explosive Game 1, we see a lot of use of flex picks that we talked about in draft to try and find advantages in the lanes here for Serenity, and we'll have to see if those kind of pan out. Looks like a really safe start from Serenity, but it doesn't look like Omega were expecting that.
No, after game number one where both teams went five-man invading, looks like Alpha are going to choose to try and maybe catch them in the invade. Especially with Scion level 1, you don't really want to invade into that just because of the decimating smash that can knock up all 5 members of your team if you're stacked appropriately for an invade. So, you know, wise of Serenity just to back off, not to extend any further than they were allowed to, and overall, not going to be any vision traded because Serenity didn't know that this was the situation, so they don't feel confident enough to go and face check any bushes. But yeah, I liked your point about the flex picks gaining them advantages in these solo lanes here. So we need to see those flex. We need to see these picks come to fruition and see them gain an advantage, because if they don't, I mentioned it before, they are just going to fall down by the wayside and not going to be able to have the same impact that they do in this early game.
Yeah, and honestly, during the break here, I think we also talked about the potential combo of Cassiopeia Shen being able to pressure the Ezreal, and honestly, seeing autofill ADC on the Cassiopeia when he performed so well in the immobile carry in game one, I'm personally very excited about, because he was, yeah, he was such a rock for the team that I felt like in the end just wasn't able to do quite enough. On the Cassiopeia does have the sort of late game damage to potentially do more.
Yeah, definitely Cassiopeia, one of the best late game scaling champions, and does have that ability to take over a team fight, as we saw in game number one. Princeton with the Cassio was piloting it very well. Did a lot of work, and we'll have to see if Autofill can have the same level of effectiveness as he did in game number one, as Princeton did on the Cassio as well. Early on, though, see little trades going on around the map. Looks like Candyman trying to get the better of this Scion, but the slice or better of the Renekton, but the slice and dice gets him to safety. No connect on the knock up right here, and the junglers as well. Just to touch on that, both of them just looking for a full clear. It looks like Hunby going to be taking his entire bot side, working into the top side. Clorox is Nummy doing the similar thing just on the bot side. Both junglers starting red, going to be clearing their camps a little bit faster with that red buff burn.
Ooh, nice trade onto the Cassiopeia in bot side as well. Is going to be the reality of the Ezreal Karma lane that do have a lot of poke. Cassiopeia with more sustain than most mages that we see because the health she gets back on her E there. But still is going to be a rough lane, especially for Shen, who doesn't have a lot of engage options outside of the taunt and can just be sort of left up there to be bound by the Karma. Aren't going to feel like they have too much autonomy unless Nunu visits their lane.
Yeah, definitely. And the sustain from Cassiopeia does come at a cost, obviously, because she has to expend the mana. Just pressing E on the minions that aren't prepped with the Q. But there's a gank bot lane.
Nice taunt there. Does follow up with the grounded there as a nice snowball from Nunu. Is going to force the flash out of Oxy. Flash responded to by autofill ADC. And will he be able to pick up the first blood? Will be responded to with a trade from the Ezreal onto the Nunu. Now looking for maybe a little bit more as Rapid Fire is burning down, but is going to be safe under his turret. Nice play around the Cassiopeia there. Does net them an advantage in that lane as Hook and Fisted landing a nice taunt to start that one off.
Yeah, nice little engage. We see the power of Cassio Shen right there. Oxy had to get so far away from the initial engaged before he could burn the flash just due to the grounded. So really nice capitalization on the taunt. They're over a step, and Clorox...
Taunt again from Hook and Fisted.
Yeah, Rapid Fire just able to dash out of there. Clorox using his pathing really well, gets himself down to the bot side to secure the first blood, ultimately does fall, so the first blood traded back on. Oxy picks up that kill himself and just walks in and takes a lot of damage for no apparent reason. Trades it back. So Autofill and Hook and Fisted, if they take this recall, they could put themselves in a really rough spot. Rapid Fire and Oxy, I want to see them freeze this wave, because if they're able to do so, then they're just able to deny so much from Autofill. Yes, he's able to go back and pick up the lost chapter now, but if they're able to keep this wave frozen where it is, then they're going to be able to deny waves upon waves of gold and experience, or make it really easy for Hunby to come and gank this flashless Cassiopeia in the bot side.
Yeah, and especially with the teleports that we haven't actually had a chance to mention yet, teleport being taken by Ezreal as well as Corki and Candyman does mean they have a lot of map mobility and ability to freeze those waves, where people like Barack Obama will not have the ability to respond necessarily if they do choose to go and help out their teammates, or in this case, use it to manipulate the lane to their advantage. Getting a nice back off there will have the tier to sustain and continue to play safe in this lane.
Yeah, exactly. And the fighting top maybe going to be an all in.
It
Shadow
looks
Balls
like
has
Protector
ult.
does have the ultimate there, where Candyman does not. Is going to force the flash out of him, and that should be all she wrote. Shadow Ball's choosing to conserve his own. Will have more kill pressure on the Scion later, since the flash is expended on Candyman.
Yeah, so with that advantage going his way, Shadow Balls might be able to try and find another engage pretty quickly. Oh, not going to be anything there, just going to dash away with that. Burns the flash on the top side though, has a nice CS lead, has already managed to force one recall from Candyman, so is it an XP lead in this lane at the minute? So overall, going quite well on the top side for Shadow Balls. We're a fan of this CS advantage that we've seen develop. This is what we wanted to see from the Renekton into the Scion. This is why you take that counter pick, why they've used the flex to this advantage. Going well up on the top side. Shame the same can't be said for the mid lane. Princeton able to hold his own at the minute, just farming up, going even with Barack Obama here. And I want to quickly touch back on your point about teleports, and I don't know that I'm going to be able to with Clorox
And
here.
it looks like he's looking to capitalize on Oxy's flashless self there. He's under the turret though, so I don't think that they'll be able to find anything here. Autofill ADC does manage to chunk him to about half, and that's a nice gank from the Nunu, but Oxy respecting it well does mean that he's able to mitigate the impact.
Yeah, and Hook and Fisted deciding not to commit the flash there means that they don't get the kill. I feel like if he went for the flash taunt, there might have been a world where enough damage came through, especially with the Cassio grounding coming through as well, just to provide a slow. But ultimately, that gank does benefit them with the Drake as well, using the bot lane pressure to secure this Infernal Dragon. Gonna get a Cloud Soul next, so we are gonna get and see one of those more impactful souls. Mountain or Ocean gonna come through for the Rift of choice. And now I'm going to finally touch on the TP points. We've got 3 TPs on the side of Alpha here as an engage bot.
As maybe we won't be able to touch on the TP points, as Oxy is going quite low. Is going to be picked up by Hooked and Fisted, but again is going to be traded back. Hunby now has the pillar and could try and find it onto autofill. Walking away, giving a little bit of BM there. Could be found potentially, but Nunu is here to turn this around really quickly. Hunby is going to be knocked up here and should be taken down. Nice job capitalizing on that from him, and a little bit too much commitment without knowledge of where the jungler was from Trundle. Please tell me about the teleports.
No, it's okay. The TLDR of the teleports is they know that they know that Serenity won a 1-3-1, and they've got teleports to answer neutral objectives when they're committing to those 1-3-1s. That's all it is. That fight down bot lane, I don't think Hunby ever wins that fight, even if Nunu isn't there. Cassiopeia, level 5, Trundle level 5 as well. The Trundle for combat effectiveness has a little bit of HP and slight magic damage burn. This Cassiopeia has got sustain in her kit, has lost chapter at that particular time. That fight was never really going to go Hunby's way. Yes, the True Shot Barrage went wide, and it would have been in their favour if it had hit connected. But you just kind of have to respect even early game Cassiopeia when you're early game Trundle with little to no items really.
Yeah, the Cassiopeia already being slightly ahead now is going to pick up the tier for herself as well. Will have a lot of mana sustain to mitigate the disadvantage that her sustain comes at, like we talked about earlier. Normally having to spend the mana to regain that health, is now going to be able to spend mana more freely with both of the mana items coming in for her. That will allow her to just sort of spam her spells and be able to almost drain tank a fight sometimes.
Yeah,
So I'll get back to lane.
that's exactly what happens really with Scion. He doesn't want to use the TP, which is understandable because the ultimate is a shorter cooldown. But it does suggest that they're not really going to be looking to fight, as we see. Oh, the death push.
Yeah, it looks like they're looking for a fight onto Trundle, though. Seeing that Scion has just come back, doesn't have the ultimate. Lucian is hovering there as Renekton is going to find the stun onto the Trundle there. Is going to be forced to go under tower. Now can look for the kill as Nunu is channeling the ultimate. Will be end up chunking everybody there. Candyman Prim does manage to pick up a kill in response, giving it over to his jungler and the turret. And no Shun actually being able to show up in the end there will mean that it is a nice one for one in the top side.
Yeah, it is. Candyman needs to go up, push this wave in as soon as possible, get himself the shove in. Oh, nice arcane shift there. That's what I want to see. Get that buffer going. But push that wave all the way in as fast as you can, and get a reset off, because you need to catch up a little bit in this lane. Unless he gets a full crash here, which I think he's going to have to push another wave for. I just quickly toggle to the top side. Never mind, there's a fight mid. Oh, they're not fighting. They're just disengaging.
Yeah,
But yeah,
Princeton still has a Valkyrie there, just looking for a little bit of trading.
and interestingly enough, Princeton managed to, on the first purchase, get a Manamune where Lucian was not able to. So this cull actually paying its dividends early on means that he was able to not complete the cull, but the extra 1 gold that you get from every minion gave him the required amount to secure the Manamune off of the first recall, where Barack Obama isn't going to be getting nearly as many stacks on this Lucian as Corki would be, because, for those that don't know, completed Manamune gives you stacks for auto attacking, and that's why you typically see on AD champions, because they don't have to cast as many spells. But just the tier doesn't give you those stacks. You do need to be casting them spells to get the full effectiveness out of it, and it's also typically why you see Ezreal's able to not necessarily finish the Manamune and just content to sit on the tier and go for Sheen item, because they don't have to auto attack to proc it.
No, yeah, I was paying attention to your point, but looking for maybe Shadow Balls being able to fight his way to an advantage in the top side there. As you were talking about with the Manamune and being able to find those advantages, especially through the auto attacks, I'm actually really surprised at how Corki has managed to, against a high pressure lane, stay completely even in CS, even finding himself with the call at what we'll call a gold advantage in that lane into what is a high pressure and counterpicked lane of the Lucian.
Yeah, and he's even got a little level lead as well at the minute. He's got the package as well, roaming down bot lane, trying to see if there's a play available. Dragon spawning now in a second. The package is available, and it looks like Alpha are going to get this uncontested. Serenity not in the position to fight for it. They're just going to take the recall. Autofill ADC picks up the Seraph's Embrace, or the Archangel Staff rather. No TPs coming through from the top side of the map, meaning that just going to be a free Drake on the side of Alpha, and it is going to be an Ocean Rift spawning here.
Ocean is going to feel really nice for both these teams. Trundle especially benefiting a lot from the Ocean, but so much sustain being so important for both of these teams, especially with Cassiopeia already, being able to sustain through fights quite regularly. But Trundle and Scion benefiting a lot from that additional tankiness is going to mean the world to them to be able to close out this game if they can start stacking those up. And I think that for the side of Serenity, if they do end up getting that Cloud Soul, it'll be what keeps them in the game and does manage to close it out, potentially. But I think it's going to be more of an even factor for them if we do get to a Soul point level.
Yeah, and if we get to Soul point in this game and the Drakes are even, like if we're fighting 3 for 3, I feel like Alpha at that stage are just going to win the fight. Princeton might be dead here.
Yeah, Princeton taking a lot of damage from the Lucian there, is going to be forced to back and doesn't have the teleport here, so has the potential to lose a wave, which would bring him significantly down in CS. It does give Princeton or Barack Obama also the opportunity to roam, although I'm not sure exactly how effective Lucian roams will be at this point.
No, Lucian roams are definitely more of a counter gank, but Nunu is on the bot side.
Ooh, Hook and Fisted missing what feels like the first taunt of the game is now Clark's enemy might be caught out a little bit. He's just going to walk his way out of that one and take a decent amount of poke, but Nunu going to feel pretty healthy. Free gank in the bot side does feel pretty nice for him to just be able to run at the opposition with the snowball. And autofill ADC and Hook and Fisted being able to be supported by their jungler when we haven't seen Hunby show up as much is also going to be really impactful in this game. Looks like we might see a gank in the mid lane as well.
Yeah, he's just going to be able to get away from that. And, talk about that bot lane engage. That really did just favour Alpha in that situation. Hook and Fisted misses to his main form of engage with the flash. And Oxy going in himself.
Autofill ADC does have the flash, but chooses not to expend it. Instead, doing a bunch of damage into the Cassiopeia. He's going to be taunted, or the Karma, who's going to be taunted and taken down in the end. Shadow Balls does teleport down, but the fight is already over, and Cassiopeia has won it. Rapid Fire going to be knocked up, and Nunu and Shen will end up picking up one more, as Barack Obama in the mid lane does look for Corki as well. Going to be taken really low, and will end up giving the Rift Herald a second charge onto the tower here. Corki choosing not to back could be his life is in danger if he chooses to stay much longer. Oh, hello?
Woohoo!
Uh,
Princeton. Okay, the big one doing the big work right there. The big AoE on that big missile takes down Barack Obama. He wasn't expecting it. I don't think you or I were expecting that level of damage either. Oh,
I,
wow. Okay, the solo
I
kill in the mid
certainly
lane.
was not. Oh my lord.
Yeah, I'd imagine screaming like that on a Castiach per while. Keeping no, that was a nice play in the mid lane. I guess that they are able to. Oh, yeah, take an advantage in this mid lane now. And we talked about the mid lane counter pick, being stabilized by Princeton, and now he's managed to find himself a solo kill as well. This mid lane matchup going drastically now in the favor of Princeton with that going his way. He's able to work towards that Trinity Force as well. 2-item spike from Corki is incredibly strong. The 2-item spike from Ezreal similarly right up there with the completed Sheen, Trinity Force, or Man Immune. And those completed items. I expect as well that this next Ocean Dragon probably shouldn't be contested by. Oh, Renekton not caught. Shouldn't really be contested by Serenity because of the spikes that should come through. We've got a minute, 2 Sheens, 2 Mana Munes, and I don't know that they're going to get fully upgraded into Sheen items actually. So maybe the fight would be a little bit better for Serenity. But these mid lane spikes are a lot harder than the mid lane and mid game spikes for Renekton and Lucian here.
Absolutely, and especially Renekton not having been able to find too much of an advantage in the side lane yet, only 10 CS to his name, does mean that he's certainly not going to be as impactful in those team fights and can't necessarily keep Sion all the way to himself to mitigate his impact. But I think that losing this dragon does make you as perhaps like a Serenity team member feel very nervous, I think, about your potential in this game. If you do give up this dragon, if you do start conceding these mid-game fights, if you haven't found more than what is now 2k gold of an advantage in the early game, what were your counter picks for? And I think that right now, as much as it might not feel like it's a good time to fight, I think that they feel like they might have to.
Yeah, I agree that if they don't pull the trigger here and don't use the early game advantage, then they could just as you mentioned, just just concede everything, and they're gonna not never really be in a position to fight back unless they're gonna be using autofill ADC as the really lead damage source.
Princeton does have package here and is doing a good job of zoning them out. Looks like Clorox's dummy might just go for a smite steal. It isn't really being contested. Nice teleport from the Scion, and will end up actually taking the dragon there, which is going to feel really good for them. Now it's just all about the disengage. Corki packaging in, is going to be looking for it himself. Oh, really nice stun from the Cassiopeia. Almost kills the Karma there, but not using the opportunity to back off will mean a double kill for the Corki here. And a nice 2-4-0 right now. Looks like they could be looking for more. Candyman Prim will have the stun up, but doesn't find Barack Obama. As it feels so weird to be saying Barack Obama, but but they will end up getting away, taking one dragon and losing 2 kills. Does mean that the Rift Herald will go over to Omega Gaming, but I think you take that.
I'm sad, okay? I don't want people 50-50ing smites versus a Nunu. A Nunu, and then they engage the fight afterwards anyway. Just engage the fight while the dragon is still alive. Take the fight, win the fight, come back and take the dragon afterwards. Don't 50-50 versus a Nunu. Don't do it. It's silly. Nunu has 1,000 true damage available in his kit with the consume with the smite. It's not advised, guys. Either way, okay, be that as it may, they take the 50-50, they lose it. They get themselves the Rift Herald, they get themselves the one fight as well. They shut down autofill ADC. Overall, yes, I agree. You take the trade, 2 kills, they do lose the Drake, but they get the Herald, which means they're likely going to be able to break open a turret somewhere on the map, which will accelerate them into a gold lead. They also, with those kills, are able to get Princeton to Trinity Force. Rapid Fire now has completed Iceborne Gauntlet, so they're looking a lot prettier in these games. They're going to be happy taking team fights as we accelerate into the game. But I'm going to be curious as to whether or not this Ocean Drake bites them in the bum as we get later into this game, because there's going to be a point where I feel like they're going to be on soul point when they should be, when they should have the soul themselves. So keep track of that.
If they continue taking these 50-50s, absolutely, that's going to be a huge problem for them. And even if kind of in the mid game, after the item spikes come in from Omega Gaming, if they can kind of be waited out by Serenity and take advantage of right after that when they have their spikes as well, I think that we could see them potentially turn it around into what you were saying, like a soul point of themselves. Omega Gaming Alpha gonna just channel the Rift Herald and ditch it in the mid lane there. Should net them a little bit of gold, but Nunu looking to start a fight here. He's going to force the flash immediately out of Rapid Fire, who's now taunted as well. Now stunned is going to be a double kill for the Nunu there in the mid lane. Now Oxy looking to follow very shortly. Flash from the Lucian will secure him with the pistols, and now it is a 3-for-0 on the side of Serenity, and they do lose their tower, but looking for perhaps a Baron, as it's only 20 minutes and they've pinged it out. Nunu's going to be rolling a snowball straight into it, but there's not a lot of damage. 3-for-0 actually, it means the jungler's down.
Yeah, you definitely can try and take this fight if you're Candyman Prim. You are very tanky on this Scion, but the Baron is just going to go too fast. You know, even if he gets in there, he needs to have Corki with him to deal the damage. Princeton wasn't around, so do concede the Baron is the smart play in that particular instance. But, you know, we talked about this Serenity comp wanting to be the 1-3-1 comp, and somehow they find an engage with 5 members mid lane, and Candyman Prim and Princeton nowhere to be found. So, you know, slight adjustment to what we were thinking was going to happen. So, hey, if it works, it works. Serenity, they get themselves 3 kills. They get themselves the Baron. They're now in the driver's seat of this game. Let's see if they can take down the rest of these outer turrets that are guarding the base. I don't know that they're going to be able to break the base just because something inside me is still telling me that these guys aren't strong enough to take a team fight. So they're going to need to use the Baron or use autofill ADC to really propel themselves forward and break this base.
Absolutely, autofill ADC is going to be, especially their largest source of damage here is sitting at that 3, 1, and 4, and has picked up the Ryalize for himself as well. So we'll have the additional health in order to enable him to kite out these fights where we did see him get collapsed on a little too quickly around Dragon there. With 45 seconds on the next Ocean, I think that we might see our second fight there, and that's kind of where we can start to look at what direction this game's going to be going in.
Yeah, and look at the waves for Serenity here. Their top wave is completely out of control. They're just, leaving it to do what it wants. Bot lane is sort of in a similar position. Neither of the teams have got complete control over mid either yet. Looks like Alpha are going to have the priority, but Lucian is sat in that tribush. Package is available, so they could look to engage here.
It looks like they're looking for Hook and Fisted, who, by the way, I haven't had the time to say it yet, has had great taunts this game.
Yeah, the one that you highlighted missed, and we feel like that was the only one. I'm right there with you. He's had a great performance on this Shen so far, and we'll have to see if he can continue to do so. We've got the Drake now spawned. Lucian is quite a bit away. He is running down mid. He's probably going to try and convert for the turret here, which means Alpha need to commit to this dragon right now. They need to go for it, seeing Lucian mid lane, but they can't take the 50-50.
Lucian now is on the turret, and Renekton will be taken down, so now solid numbers advantage for them should mean that they have the turret, but looks like they're looking for more of a fight as autofill ADC, maybe stepping a little bit too far forward, is going to be forced to flash away. Now flashing onto him is everyone on the side of Omega Gaming Esports. Autofill ADC still able to do damage from the backside. Nunu channeling the ultimate, does buy a lot of space for her, but it will be almost everyone dying. Lucian's still on the inhibitor though, with the Baron buff. Is a huge threat to them.
He can keep going.
Dragon's worth it. Yeah, he can just run it down.
He can keep going here. Autofill ADC can buy time by stopping the recalls. If she stops Scion here, Lucian can do so much work.
It's going to stop Scion, forcing the teleport out of him. Now might be able to take down Karma as well. Nice Zanyas from her will buy time. And they do get the Dragon, but at the cost of a Nexus turret and a full inhibitor there.
Yeah, so, well, they're going to have to try and weigh up the pros and cons of that one for themselves, because losing a Nexus turret is never what you want. Losing an inhibitor, maybe you can make the argument for, but autofill ADC sacrificing himself to get a Nexus turret down, I'm not sure how this is going to play out, because, the games that we see normally, the games aren't decided on whether or not a Nexus turret has been destroyed, so I'm not sure that will be too pivotal in the outcome of this game. But it does give them, a little bit of gold, gives them a lot of pressure in the mid lane, and they used the Baron and they broke the base. It wasn't in the traditional format, definitely wasn't what I was expecting to see, but it is how it's played out, and that is what happened. And, Princeton unfortunately got a little bit too far forward in that fight, was caught in the Nunu ultimate, and with the Cassiopeia raining down on him as well, wasn't really able to dodge any of the Qs, was going to get blasted by Twin Fangs as soon as autofill ADC positioned himself well, and You talked about it in game number 1, how he positioned well on Ashe. This game as well is no exception. Really good petrifying gazes as well have came out from him throughout this game. So keep looking to him to keep performing, because Serenity still in this driver's seat right now, looking to make things happen.
Yeah, Omega Gaming Alpha also recognizing that he's such a problem. We're all trying to get on top of him and still not able to do it. Autofill ADC finding another beautiful ultimate.
Look at the flank from
Is going
Chen.
to be picked up though, and now Nudu is going to be the second kill going over to Ezreal. Inhibitor is still down, and Supers are pushing into the base, but they have plenty of time to recall onto this. No objectives going to be found off of those kills. The do still feel really nice.
Rapid Fire coming up huge for the team there. He was the one that found that engage, spotting that Barack Obama stepped a little too far forward, spared no expense, no hesitation whatsoever. Arcane shifted forward, hit a nice WQ combo to apply the Iceborne slow, was able to also then follow up with a second Q Mystic Shot connecting secondary slow, which allowed Hunbeat to commit with the pillar, and then the Arcane, or the True Shot Barrage rather, came through, slayed Barack Obama, who still has flash. Not sure that he did for the fight, but either way, if you want to flash those abilities to keep yourself alive, it's probably better than saving it. But in this instance, if you saved it and for this Drake fight coming up, for example, or the Baron fight, then yeah, I can make the exception.
Mm. And talking about just the Ezreal feeling confident to step far forward, does have the gauntlet to protect him from the Lucian, but also has more CS than the Lucian at this point in the game. Has and we actually didn't get the chance to talk about it just because there was so much blood early on. But even about 10 minutes ago, had about a 40 CS lead over the Cassiopeia. So even though she's doing quite well, I think Rapid Fire is kind of the unsung hero of lane in being able to pick up so much CS even when Oxy was being punished right next to him, and be able to be so strong at this point in the game, despite that, is really impressive.
Yeah, and this is a definite improvement from game number 1, where we saw him slightly misstepping, slightly overstepping his bounds. But with Alpha having no vision of this Baron here, they're just gonna get it started, and Cassiopeia does this super quickly.
Yeah,
Talk about the vision, they've got no idea.
Securing their second Baron of the game, it looks like they're going to be able to continue playing with that buff. And I guess Omega Gaming not feeling like it was a possibility are going to be on the back foot again. They have been absorbing quite a bit of gold from the mid lane here, but now with pressure on these side lanes aren't going to be feeling nearly as relaxed about it. Renekton is going to be a huge pressure point now with that buff as well, and I'm not sure how they're going to play around this.
Yeah, so I'm happy with this little adaptation that they've made. They've sent Princeton down to handle the Renekton. I hope they keep it like this, because there's not really any way for Candyman Prim to handle this Renekton. He's just going to get stomped on in the side lane. So sending Corki down there, he's going to be able to kite out the Renekton a lot easier than the Scion will. And the Scion also provides a lot more wave clear in the top side of the map, where they don't necessarily have it, as they see engages top.
We might see Clorox is now maybe taken quite low. It looks like they're going to back off there, but it means that nobody is down to deal with the Renekton right now. Packages available for the Corki, so should be able to get himself to prevent the inhibitor tower from going down. But a lot of turrets broken for the side of Serenity nets them a nice amount of gold. Still at about 3k though, so not exactly the advantage that you want to be seeing for someone with so much map pressure.
Yeah, with the Baron as well going down, that's 1500 gold going your way. And we'll have to see if they can continue to break more structures here. Ocean Drake now spawning. Alpha are in position. Candyman Prim has TP to get back. And Princeton, I believe, still has package available. But it'll be running out very shortly. Here we go. Clorox is starting up the Drake. TP coming in now from Scion.
Yeah, it looks like looks like Corki gonna be able to use the package just before it times out. Does hem everybody into this choke point right here. Shadow Ball's gonna be able to put out huge amounts of damage, but Nunu flashing forward will be able to channel the full ult onto Princeton and Rapid Fire, who are now on the back foot. Candyman Prim not able to do any damage as both of his carries are down, and no kills for the side of Omega Gaming Alpha. Will mean the Candyman Prim could start the Drake if he wants to, but he's not gonna end up getting it.
No, he's definitely not got enough time to take the entire dragon, and that could be a rundown mid from Serenity right here. They've got the wave mid lane coming down. They're split on their call.
Well. Yeah, it looks like part of them want to take Dragon, and part of them want to continue kind of getting a pressure advantage in this game. I do feel like they could win if they all went mid.
Yeah, and this is the one niche instance where I think that the Nexus turret having been felled at the last straight could have been determining of the game here. They had the Baron. If they go with the Baron minions and push them all the way in early on, I think they could have ended, but they'll take 2 inhibitors. They'll take the Drake because those are some strong advantages to play with, and they can definitely look to close out the game from here with this that they've got.
Absolutely. They have 4 minutes till next Drake. At that point, an advantage is almost insurmountable, especially with the dreaded Ocean Soul that would appear for them on the map. And with the amount of pressure that they have, they do kind of have free reign over any vision control that they can get. And so this isn't necessarily a bad call from them. It's just maybe a little bit too safe, it feels.
Yeah, just respecting maybe a little bit too much of Alpha and their respawn timers, but at the end of the day, with the bot lane inhibitor falling as well, the Baron respawning in a couple of minutes, 2.5, 240 minutes to get that one underway, the bot lane inhibitor pressure is going to be so paramount because with it, they're going to be able to have so much pressure coming down on the bot side that they will be able to just walk in and take that Baron almost for free, should Alpha not be able to sort out these side lanes. It does look like Princeton is going to be able to get himself a bot lane tier 1 against the run of the minions though, but Rapid Fire's caught here.
Now, Princeton has teleport, channeling it right now. Will be able to join the fight in time, but they are going to have to run straight into everybody. Sign all being channeled does actually find Autofill ADC, who's flashless now. Now has to burn the Zanyas and is so incredibly low. Tier Shield will keep him alive for right now, and Princeton not able to do enough damage either. Autofill ADC still being alive means that his team is winning the fight. Clorox's Nummy being able to tank up and steal so much attention away from the carries will finally go down for a double kill for Princeton. Now Cassiopeia on the back foot. Barack Obama almost sniping out Princeton, but a beautiful flash hook from Hook and Fisted will actually end up netting them the advantage there. Rapid Fire manages to clean up the kill on Cassiopeia, and that is going to be the ace for Omega Gaming Alpha as they have to go back and clean up their base before they lose the game.
Yeah, the Nexus turrets have been fallen. The super minions are hitting away right now, but they are going to get back. Minions are going to respawn. Nexus at about half HP, and I've been wrong before, and I'm wrong once again that this Nexus turret being slain early on has really cost them here. That I feel like if there was another Nexus turret bashing at those minions, then Rapid Fire would have been able to complete the TP and get back to the base. But that's not important right now. The important factor is that Alpha take that team fight, and it looked so good for them at the beginning, and then it wavered a little bit. When you saw Autofill ADC still pumping out damage, you're thinking, how is he alive after stasis? The Seraph's Embrace came through, Shen Ultimate came through immediately after that was picked up, so it was super strong shielding from Serenity that kept him alive. But then Princeton able to step up, able to do the damage, and again really well played from Rapid Fire, acknowledging that the Cassiopeia wasn't focusing on him, so he was able to jump on it, got a nice Essence Flux and Arcane Shift combination to take down Cassiopeia. So really well played from, again, everybody in this game is really stepping up, and this is a really high class game for us to cast here.
Yeah, this is I don't want to say nearly as back and forth as the first game, because I feel like Serenity honestly have a little bit more of a handle on the game state right now, but certainly in terms of that team fight that we saw beautifully executed from Omega, I think that they have the tools to take this game back in their hands. Autofill ADC's Flash will be up for the next fight, so he's again going to be the person that I'm focusing on. Having the repositioning tool could be invaluable for him. It looks like they're starting with Baron, and we might see the next fight right now.
Yeah, Candyman Prim has TP very soon. Hunby going to be going in, Valkyrie in.
Does have an immense amount of tankiness, but it is not enough as he's going to be shredded through immediately. Oxy going down second. Rapid Fire looking to be the third. Is going to be stunned up by the Renekton and taken down. A double kill for the Lucian. As it looks like now, I think it's safe to say they could end the game with no damage. They do still have Princeton, but we'll see if they feel the same way. Looks like they're running down mid lane though. Princeton looking to maybe defend, but Nunu running straight past him into the exposed Nexus here.
Oh!
Looking to take down Autofill ADC. Will actually end up fighting.
No.
Princeton doing so much work. Takes down 2 people. There are no minions on.
It's not going to be enough
on the Nexus right now, but no, I don't think it's going to be enough either. As Candyman Prim does not have the damage to take down all of these people. Doesn't even find anyone with a knock him, and he's just gonna have to stand here as he watches his Nexus be beaten to death by a Yeti. It is gonna be the end of game 2 for us, and Serenity will take it to game 3 today.
Whew. Wow. Okay, Princeton almost saved the game right there. Unfortunately, wasn't quite able to. Did get taunted up in the end, and I talked about the teleport being available soon for Candyman Prim. Soon was not soon enough. It did not come through. Or it wasn't available at the time of their engage. So, Unfortunately, they do lose the fight because they're in a 4v5, essentially, lose the game as well. So it's just unfortunate timings, really. Really nice execution from Serenity to go for the Baron as soon as it spawns, knowing that the TP is just going to be a little bit off of cooldown. Um, but yeah, really well played from Serenity, really well played from Alpha as well. Both of these games have been crazy, crazy powerful, and yeah. Yeah, I want to quickly just shout out Risen Esports as well. Thank you guys for the raid. Sorry that we missed it in the game. These games have been super intense, super back and forth, but thank you for the raid of 43 people. Hope your games were great. We're going to get ourselves into a short intermission now before we load up for game number 3. And we hope you guys stay around, enjoy this wonderful series that we've got going. Uh, Once again, I am Rudude, running the colour casting and production, and we've got Diatripe with me here on colour casting duties. We'll be right back after this short break.